Brenda J. Lilly here with the Bridge Artistic Network. I wanted to put out a small disclaimer before we launch into today's video. I am not a licensed therapist. I am just a fellow creative artist who hopes to encourage, engage, and hopefully empower other creative artists to go out and live their art dream. Okay, here we go into today's video. I hope you enjoy it. Good Monday morning, everybody. It is June 16th, Monday. Time for another kickstart. I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, like it, share it with everyone you know so that we can continue to become who we were created to be. And if you could, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. Thanks so much, and I will see you on the flip side. Well, good Monday morning, everybody. Brenda J. Lilly here with the Bridge Artistic Network, and it is time for another Monday morning kickstart. I've got my big blue cup of coffee. I hope you have yours. If not, run to the kitchen right now. Run, don't walk. Get a cup of coffee, come on back, and then sit down and let's start a conversation, shall we? I'll wait. Just kidding. I'm going to keep going. All right. So, I want to talk about projects and I want to talk about lists. I'm a former professional stage manager, right? I lived schedules and lists and schedules. And the two always had to line up. Like I had a list of to do things for every single show I was a part of. And I had deadlines for those things that needed to be done. And I made lists that I had little boxes even, and I would check them off because it felt so good to be able to check them off. I didn't want to scratch them out. I wanted to check them off. Neat as a pin. Check, 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 check. And then throw the list away when it was done. But I had deadlines to meet, so I needed a schedule. So schedules and lists go hand in hand. Now, if you are one of my creative friends who is ADHD or non administrative in your thought and process, this is going to be a tough video for you. And it might even feel like it's not for you, but I can promise you it is. Because here's what lists and schedules do for us as human beings. They bring a sense of calm, a sense of peace, and a sense of accomplishment. And we could all use all three of those. They also bring accountability, both personal and professional, depending on what the list is for. So I was helping one of my friends this week, and that is why I wanted to talk about this. I was helping one of my friends this week. She is moving house from Massachusetts to Florida. It's a big move, right? And she's had to move from house to house before, but this is the first sort of cross country move that she's done. And I have just finished doing a cross continental move, a cross sea ocean move. So I know a little bit about what I'm speaking. I'm also super good at creating an agenda, making lists, and staying on target, right? And for some reason, my brain works in a way where I can look at a project and say, this is going to take me 3 weeks to accomplish. This is going to take me 2 months to accomplish if I do it this way. It's going to take me a month and a half if I do it this way, which is going to cause me less stress. Then I choose which way I'm going to do it. Don't ask me how my brain does that. I can't tell you, and I can't teach it. I wish I could. But anybody can learn how to figure it out by just experience, right? By just making your list of things to get accomplished according to the deadlines that are set or that you are setting. And then seeing how long it takes in actuality to accomplish those things. Were the deadlines for this project sufficient, or were they a little too aggressive, or were they not aggressive enough? I think it's important. I'm going to stop for a moment before about talking about lists and schedules. And I want to add in, remember last week we talked about making sure you schedule your quiet days, and what I call quiet days, your days off, your days of rest, your days of rejuvenation, reflection, reimagination. That was last week's video. If you didn't see it, go check it out. It's really cool and it's about 10 and a half minutes. Um, so I want to stop and pay homage to that thought, because when we're making a schedule based on deadlines and to-dos, a lot of times we forget to factor in downtime, rest time, lunch breaks, coffee breaks, a need for you to rest, and a good night's sleep. We become giants in our own mind and we think, I'm going to do this all in one day, which is, for most projects, not a thing. So I want to say, as you are making whatever list, whatever schedule, according to whatever deadline, quiet time and rest, days off, Sabbath need to be a part of that schedule. It's not an option. I don't care how busy you are, and I don't care what the project is. Every one of us needs downtime. Creatives, especially, need some downtime in order to give our brains and our bodies and our spirits the bandwidth to keep on creating. Okay? So make sure as you're creating the schedule, according to the deadlines that you have, that you schedule in your quiet days. Enough said. So I went over to help my friend sort of put together a plan of attack. She was overwhelmed by the idea of finishing packing. And I can understand that, man. I mean, I remember looking at my house when I first started uh, even thinking about the idea of moving back to the United States from the Netherlands. And after 14 years, I had a house full of stuff. And I just looked at it and it was so overwhelming. And I said, and because I wasn't keeping a storage unit there, right? So the idea wasn't necessarily to go back. And if I do go back ever to the Netherlands to live, I'll start over with new things, and that's okay. I also thought to myself, I can't move all of this. I have to decide what's precious, what I want for my memorabilia, for my house in America, and what I don't. Um, and I had a huge project ahead of me. And the first week, as I was thinking about the schedule and the to do lists, I would literally start and just have to stop because my brain would just shut down out of, I think, complete panic. It was just like, oh no, I can't even think about it. I can't. And I'm an administrative artist. I administrate and I art in sort of the same capacity, at the same level, right? And so for me to say it's too much, can't even think about it, as I'm approaching the job, it's a lot. It is an overwhelming process. And so when I went to my friend's house, after I was able to accomplish my goal of getting back to America, which I did back in March, I knew I could help her because I've been through it recently. It's not a distant memory. It's not, oh, it was easy. It's really not that big a deal. You need to relax. You know how when time sort of has its way with us, everything seems a little less daunting to us, and we don't understand why people are getting so panicked. And so we sort of condescend a little bit to their pain or their fear. I didn't have any of that with me because I still carry this move so close to me that I was like, I get it. This is huge. This is huge. It's okay to have a little bit of fear about it. It's okay to feel overwhelmed by it. If you didn't feel those things, I don't think you're human. We weren't created not to go, whoo, I need help. We were created to ask for help and be with each other in those moments. And so I went and I walked into her house, and I can honestly say my first thought was, ooh, this is ADHD brain unpacking. Right? And I have a bit of ADHD, but not the, I'm more sort of get hyper focused and can forget the world around me. Um, but I have so many patterns of behavior that I've put in place over the years that the leaving things behind once you're finished with it, and so the cabinet doors are open and whatnot, that doesn't happen with me. But so many of my friends that happens for, and so I was in full expectation. But I realized immediately upon walking into the house why she felt overwhelmed. There were boxes everywhere, empty and full. Many of them were not finished packing. Some of them were closed and sealed and labeled. Some of them were half filled. Some of them seemed full. And so I just took a little stroll around the house, and then I sat down on the couch and I just sat with it all for a moment and took a breath. And she was out doing errands. So this was actually good time for me to feel all of it and to experience what she experiences when she's alone in the house, right? And so when she came back, I was able to begin. First, we just fellowshipped. We just sat down and chatted and had some water, and chatted. And then I said, "Okay, let's go into that room. You show me what's going on in here." And so we did, and we went through the what is the spare room because I saw it as an opportunity for a staging area. And I was like, for packing, right? And I was like, if she can have a staging area for packing with her ADHD, so she has the boxes she needs or she's working with in the room with her, and all of the packing supplies and materials that she needs in order to finish packing the 4 boxes that she's going to do on that day, she's going to be able to accomplish this goal. If they're spread out all over the apartment, she's going to get distracted every time she goes looking for something. And instead of 4 boxes, she might get 1 done. And I don't want that for her. So, how do I help her with that? And so we talked it through. We went into her bathroom. We talked it through. We went back into the spare room. We talked some more. We talked about our trip down because I'm driving with her to Florida. And so we talked about our trip down. And I said, okay, so let's take the spare bathroom tub and imagine that's the trunk of your car. And so anything that's going on the trip with us to Florida, it goes in that bathtub and it's out of the way. So the suitcase packed that you're going to bring goes there. The dog's toys goes there. The little cooler goes there. The pool noodles go there, right? So they're out of the way and they're ready to go. You don't have to move them 17 times. Bob's your uncle. They're done. They're where they need to be. Then we went back into the room and I looked and we reorganized the room a little bit so there was more space. We looked into that closet. We looked into the bedroom, into the closet. And then I just looked around the rest of the apartment with her. And I said, okay, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make a schedule now for the next 10 days. And in that 10 days stretch, I'm going to give you 3 days of rest because you need to take quiet days. And I told her, I said, look, I'm not going to tell you you can't work on packing on those days or you can't. But what I will say is that you have to do some refreshing activity and you have to get quiet. So don't pack a bunch of boxes on that quiet day. That's what the packing days are for. You can go through photo albums and sit with your memories. You can look at Chach and sit with your memories and decide whether or not you want to pack them or not. Those are good use of quiet day times when you're in the middle of packing a house. And so I sat down and I made an entire schedule for her for 10 days, including what she would specifically do, not what specifically, like I didn't go room by room or anything like that. I literally said, you're packing 4 boxes, and here are 4 extra little projects that you will also do on this day, or 3 boxes, or 2 boxes, or you're packing the kitchen. That was the one room I did just say, and then this day is the kitchen. Um, you know, and then I made a list so she can check it off, but I also put those things on her schedule. So she knows every day she can hang that schedule up on the wall and she can look and say, in the morning, what am I doing? While she's drinking her coffee, what am I supposed to be on about today? Right? I can honestly tell you that is exactly how I did my packing. And I've checked in with her a couple of times since, and she is on fire. So she went from overwhelmed and a little bit stuck to getting it done. I'm not going to say the list and schedule are the magic bullet, but they kind of are, because it becomes your own personal responsibility. It becomes accountability, but it also gives you a list of things you need to accomplish. And once that's accomplished for that day, you can sit down and rest. You don't have to keep going. You don't have to be an overachiever. You don't win any bozo button if you pack earlier than when you leave and then you have to act like you're camping for more days than are necessary. That's not that's not how you win this race. You win this race by being slow and steady movement forward. I had friends who were missionaries to Malta, and their first fundraising adventure said, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Now, I'm not saying we should go eat elephants because, frankly, ew, I love elephants, so no. But in other words, how do you deal with a big project the size of an elephant, right? It's huge. One bite at a time, one step at a time, one forward movement at a time. And that is what a schedule and a list of things to do according to your deadlines does for you. By the time she is finished with these first 10 days, which includes 3 days of rest, by the way, remember I said schedule rest in? I was very clear with her about that. By the time she's done with these 10 days, I have a feeling almost her whole house of non essential items will be packed. And that will be amazing. And if not, she's going down to Florida to pick up her keys for her new house on like a couple weekends from now. When she comes back, she still has like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks to finish packing. So if she's not finished in these 10 days, it's okay. She has time. She'll come back, we'll make a new list, we'll make a new schedule, and we'll get her done. That is how you do this. That's how you eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's how you finish a project, one forward step after the next forward step. You just keep going. So I'm going to encourage us all, as we make our schedules for our projects, make sure we schedule in days of rest, quiet days for ourselves. and rejuvenation, reimagination time so that we have the bandwidth to keep on creating and the bandwidth to keep on moving forward with the project so we don't get stuck. And in order not to get stuck or feel overwhelmed, break down your big project into manageable steps forward. Put them in a list of things to do, checking them off one at a time, and put them on your schedule in order of need. All right. Those are my best pieces of advice when it comes to scheduling and making an agenda and making sure you still get Sabbath time. And peace be with you all as you walk into this week. I'll see you next Monday. Hey, thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe. What are you waiting for? All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye.